Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaRakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of the great most and rule well, and Shalom to the brothers doing the work of sincerity and truth. Yeah, got this article on Reason.com going into the government IDs, and it's funny because this article's kind of going through one they've set up in Colorado in the States, and this has been something that from like 2008, even earlier, really, from like mid 2000s, I remember hearing about it on the news, and it's kind of been a consistent something they've tried pushing through consistently afterwards to get what do you call it, like it was it photo IDs? It was ID cards. It was basically ID cards, like government level ID cards. Because here in the UK they don't have the government level. You have your passport if you're going overseas. You have your national insurance number. You have your driver's license. You have other things, but it's like you won't have the one like just a key identifier, you know, with the government that where they'll just have all your info in one spot. And that's something they've been trying to push for a minute, but there's been big pushback against it for a long time. Basically, since it became a thing, like since they started pushing it, there's been heavy resistance. It was like, I remember back in like because I think they tried to vote it through in like maybe 2008, if I remember correctly. I remember seeing about it on the news and then doing a vote. But then it was like the younger generation. This was like even before iPhone, like so it wasn't even, actually no, I think iPhone might have just come out or come out recently, but it hadn't been like everyone didn't have a smartphone them times. So it was a bit before like now where everyone's got a phone, and it didn't, it didn't get pushed through. It was the younger generation, like the millennial generation around that time, that were kind of, they were like, yeah, make it simpler. It means, if you go to the pub, you don't have to, remember to take ID. You just have the national ID, one ID card, kind of a thing. But then it, didn't get through because all the people that are older, like, were hella resistant to it, and the people outside of London as well, they were more resistant to it. But it's something anyway that is in general people are resistant to. But there's a few places where they kind of get. So it says, what government wants you to control your digital identity. As states continue to implement digital ID systems, it is essential that they build tools in ways that inherently protect civil liberties, rather than asking civilians to just trust government officials. In many states, Americans can now ditch their physical wallet and verify their identity simply by tapping their device on a scanner. Yeah, and that's something that you see being done as well in what's that show? Amazon. There's Amazon Go stores, I think, in the US, and over here I think it's Amazon Fresh maybe. There's one not too far from where I'm staying, and it's like, yeah, you basically sign in on your app and then kind of will scan something, then just as you go out there'll be like RFID tags on all the different bits and bobs that you buy, and then when you leave it will just take the money out. So that this everything going digital, it's being pushed, and then it will go down to it. Well, I'll read on. So it says and just as digital wallets from Apple and Google have made commerce more convenient, digital ID systems could potentially make government interactions faster and more efficient. And that's always going to be the draw. It's like, going electronic, going digital. It makes everything easier, makes it easier to control, makes it like promoting. Well, I say promoting. It makes any kind of protest you're going to do smoother, because it's all basically, all the information is going to be there, easy to get to, easy to verify. Just say like bang, you do the one thing, then it all goes through. But then that also means that obviously the government, they're gonna have they're gonna know everything. Because it's funny. There's one thing they're going to it. So I read on. So it says, actually maybe I'll skip down. Okay, so I'll skip down a bit to kind of to get to the point. So it says Coloradans can simply show their digital ID to verify their identity in much the same way as you would show your driver's license to a bartender to prove you're over 21. That means of verifying identity is relatively private. However, many services, both public and private, are increasingly turning to electronic verification, which requires pinging a government server. This ping creates a data record outlining who, what, when, and where. Over time, these records create a government-controlled ledger of information about its citizens. And yeah, that's like with using your using like a Oyster card to travel, using a credit card or debit card to kind of pay for things. If you know, especially when you combine all these things together, because I remember it's like in what was it, like early 2006, 2005, one of them years. I think it's 2005. They started giving under 16s and under 18s free travel. You'd get an Oyster card that would have your face on it, a picture of your face on it, and then you get free travel. Or I think maybe it was discounted for under 18s, but under 16s, so school age, you could basically get travel for free. But then I remember like there was a couple guys like from the ends. They're basically saying like, yeah, you gotta be careful with these. Like they wouldn't even use their own ones. They would just snatch Oyster cards off like other youths and then just like scratch the face out on the picture and then just use it like that. But there was like with these, there was a couple cases I remember seeing in the newspaper like a couple months later that police had basically been going to TFL and getting details on like basically using the Oyster card records of where they travelled to arrest people that had gone around, like they'd taken a train, gone somewhere, stolen something, shanked someone, whatever. It would basically be used as part of the evidence against them. So it's like with these systems, these things are already being done, and it's like when it comes to they'll have the justification will be like law enforcement will be like protection, civil safety, whatever. That's kind of the angle they're gonna go on. But then again, it's basically gonna be the government knows Wagwan for you, man. These men can come through and keep track of okay, and if say they say there's some civil unrest with we've got a case against this person, let's check the logs. Then there's fat logs there, details of what you're doing, what you're getting verified, different locations. If they're thinking we can help this put a case together, then of course they're gonna use that shit. So it's in reality it's complete. There's no way in fucking hell that shit ain't gonna get used. But that's people are want to have faith in the government because they like this place. They want to continue to abide here. They want things to be good for them. They want to continue. They want their lives that they think are sweet and enjoyable to continue. And they think, well, it just makes it a bit easier, so that they'll justify it because why? Because they want to have a real good time. So it says, increase the turn into electrical. So yeah. So it says, built and maintained by third-party vendors, Colorado Digital ID collects troves of information about users, as outlined in the privacy policy for My Colorado. The app collects data, including but not limited to your IP address, device ID, and browser type. Yeah, so they'll be able to tell, are you on a desktop, are you on a laptop, are you on a phone, like where you're logging in from. Then IP address as well will help them locate you. So all these, like, they'll basically be able to create a map. And the thing is as soon as they create a system of basically plugging that info in, Them being like, okay, we can see, get a list of what they were there at this time. They were there on this day, and there's something you can see. Then they can be like, oh, there's a gap here. Oh, they might have turned off their phone. They might have done this, that. Or there's all kinds of shit. But then what was it say? And information on the general geographic area of the user. The privacy policy further details that the government shares information with third-party service providers, and much more concerningly, with law enforcement and other government agencies. Okay, yeah. So that's because all of these they'll straight pass it on to law enforcement because they know putting a case together, this shit makes it easy as fuck. They'll just be able to say, oh well, we know, well we got records of you using your card this time. You're in this location. And then, you verified it was you, so we know it's you. And then they might even, some of those verifications, they'll have you might have to take a picture of your face or something like that, which these things they're not meant to store, but they might store them for 30 days just in case of a criminal case. There's all these kinds of policies where it's not meant to be these things are not meant to be looked after, but then obviously they're doing it. So piecing it all together, then what do we see? All these systems are basically easy, and this is on a state level. Once they get on the federal level, that's basically a skeleton frame to build off the Karagma, man. Easily, where everything's tracked, everything's known, and the thing is these things exist already. They're just separated. But it's that's basically going to bring them all together. They want it all under their umbrella, under their means of control, so they can basically have it, as they desire. Because what does it say? The fundamental flaw in digital ID systems like Colorado's is that they are centralized in order to work. Citizens must trust the government to protect their data from malevolent actors and from the state itself, despite the fact that government agencies have not been good stewards of citizen data. When implementing digital ID systems, many states claim they will respect the privacy and civil liberties of citizens, essentially promising that they will not use their newfound power for evil. But far better than Google's long-time motto, "Don't be evil," is the idea of "can't be evil." It's easier to trust state actors to respect our privacy when they lack the ability to violate our privacy. Yeah, because as long as they can do something, they're going to follow through. Fucking funny, bro. Because, hey, you talk to people, these guys have the utmost faith. They're, you'll bring up doubts. They'll, lean into justifying, why. They'll basically lean into justifying, why it's going to be fine, or why they don't want to think about it too much. It says, Ecclesiasticus 12:10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed, and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rusts have not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. Who will beat a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any as such as come nigh upon beast? So one that goeth to a sinner is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? And yeah, you're basically trusting in Esau Edom, and that's the thing is with his track record. We look at him. What's he saying? What's his history been? What do you call it? Like when we're piecing it together. Like how much trust, how much faith can you have in this guy? And really, that shit should be non-existent. Because he's come on the scene. He's got hundreds of years, decades on top, hundreds of years of basically following after same modus operandi. where what? He's fulfilling his job as according to the scriptures, man. He's being the wicked. Revelation 13, um, and 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And yeah, that's the final kind of role, where you have that system where these things are all being tracked. Then it's basically inseparable from you, because you're gonna have that shit within your body, man. And that's what people are gonna comply with. And this is the thing: is the compliance really did get tested by the jump shot, because it wasn't met, like, as far as for the dangers involved. What you're apparently averting is nigh on, like you don't even need to. You wouldn't even need, like, it's not even necessary if you're young, in a healthy age range. Anyone with brain matter activated thinking about it would think like, well, I'm not really like this shit is not even that much of a danger. Is not even anywhere near a danger. Like, what the fuck am I wasting my time engaging with that nonsense for? But then what? Like, people are in a mindset where they're like, no, I must need to comply. And that's how they're already already convinced themselves. They're gonna think like, look, this is just what it is. And then with the Karagma as well, you have the other angle of like Neuralink, where it's basically, trying to become superhuman. Jacking AI into your head. You can have Chat GPT, giving you them suave pickup lines, in your head. That's what people are thinking. They're gonna be getting it from on their side. So it says, and no man might buy or sell save he that the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So yeah, you're gonna have to be within that system, or else. Then what does this say? Isaiah 30. Actually, was it? Yeah, 31. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. And that's really what it is, because it said what? You're trusting in a state to shepherd your data. And that's really what, when we go down to the Karagma, what's it doing? It's basically you're trusting Esau to shepherd, to basically run everything. And then you're just going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to come here and partake. I'm just going to deal with what you're dealing with. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. What does it say? Isaiah 14:4. It says, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest, and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Yeah, that's really what the nature of Esau, what we're dealing with, is that oppressor. It's now the people's minds, essentially with, it's like with the prior kingdoms. You having that faith and belief and love for this place. That's really why it's you're out here getting oppressed, and you're having to pay taxes. You ain't anything you're building up, you're not even gonna be able to, like, you're not even building something up for yourself. You're building things up for other people. You're working with other people's kingdom, companies, and systems, to establish their shit. You're basically just on a servant level. You're not able to become a sovereign of any kind. But then what? It's the bread and circuses. It's being able to go, go on flight, go on a flight, go to Marbella, go to Ibiza, go to Morocco, go to these different spots, and so-called enjoy yourself. Be able to plaster that shit on social media, so it feels like you're living life in the fast lane. These things are all what have people drawn into and in love or intoxicated in this system. But then so you do that, congratulations. But then what's the end goal? You're still just you're not gonna be on the level of the elites, man. Those guys that sold out, they're still gonna be subject to the system of the mark. And all these nations are basically now at the point where what? They're like, yo, fuck this guy. They're looking to come against him. Because why? That's his nature, and that's been his nature from the start. But our people especially want to trust in him. Because why, man? They're done, man. They're toast. But yeah. All, these digital, everything going digital, can see where it's heading, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.